Welcome to Jurassic World.
Guys, welcome to Jurassic World Minute. We visit Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And on this episode, we're discussing minute 114 of Jurassic World. Before we get that, David, we're making a bit of a change here and returning to Costa Rica. We've seen in the start of the film briefly with their aeroplane coming in and supposedly the ferry terminal with the boys getting onto the ferry. I've just got an article up here from Jurassic Pedia on pretty much Costa Rica's involvement in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Up until 2001, at least, anyway. The article hasn't been updated for the events here that we're about to see in the end of the film.
Well, I mean, we don't really see much of Costa Rica in the movie. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the hangar we see here in the movie is one of the hangars in Pearl Harbor. I think maybe on Florida Island or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an issue we got in the film because we don't get the subtitle down the bottom or wherever where we are. We knew everyone was being evacuated by cruise ship, which if they were going to make for land, they'd make for the Costa Rican coast. Unfortunately, as is mentioned in this article too, the meeting of Dodgson and Nedry in San Jose, which is not on the coast. So, I'm pretty sure when we see the plane flying to Nublar, it is San Jose that's in the credits, isn't it?
I have no idea. Oh, wait,
so long ago.
For the first movie?
No. For Jurassic World, where we see the stock footage of American Airlines landing in Costa Rica.
Was it? I can't remember.
Oh, no, it was that other.
On my computer. There. It says Juan Santa Maria Airport.
So that might not. I'm pretty sure we Googled that and that didn't come up in Costa Rica at all.
Yeah, I think we did, now that I remember.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, it says it's in Costa Rica, but when we Googled it, it was not.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, have a research and more. I wonder if there was even anywhere along the Costa Rican coast that would take cruise ships, but I suppose, as we discussed when the whole cruise ship evacuation come up, they would have been using tenders to load people onto the ships most likely because the Nublar docks didn't seem to be able to accommodate big ships like that either. So anyway, head over to Jurassic-Pedia for that little write-up on San Jose and Costa Rican's involvement. Could have been a lot more if Spielberg had shot there originally and not Hawaii, but that's in a different life now.
Did you call your sister?
Straight to voicemail.
It'll be fine. She handles 20,000 people a day. She can handle 2 more.
Dave, read again to minute 114 of Jurassic World.
Yeah?
Alright, minute 114 opens with Larry shutting down the control room and ends with Claire and Karen looking at each other through watery eyes. As Larry shuts down the lighting in the control room, we get one more look. You can see the reflection of the main screens on the windows behind him. You can still see that big red storm cell on there. We hit it every time we're in the control room. Maybe that storm, there's a little bit more rain coming that puts the fires out in Main Street. That's why it survives into Fallen Kingdom. One way or another, because it gets pretty destroyed as well.
Mm-hmm. I kind of always felt that the music could have been more climactic here. I remember the Adagio track for Alien 3 when they're shutting down all the computers and closing up the prison. They're basically saying, all right, this is the end of it all. And I think that they maybe not had quite that effect, but I feel like they needed something less quiet in this scene. A little bit more of a finale music, you know? Not like marching band finale, but like something a little bit more upbeat, because this is kind of like really sad music.
Well, we do get I guess as Jurassic World turns later, as the Tyrannosaur comes out onto the thing, we could have got little hints at the start of that, with it playing a bit slower or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for Jurassic World as Lowry walks out, as the lights dim all around him.
I was going to say, actually, I remember a track on the credits where it's kind of like a slow, sad theme of the main Jurassic World theme. Mm-hmm. That would have been a good track to have in this scene.
Yeah. Yep, because it is our final moments on Nublar.
Mm-hmm.
Except for what we get at the very end. But
yeah, it comes in after the Jurassic Park theme, I think.
Yeah, yep. But then we cut today. We get a soldier walking across the screen with an M16 on his back, and he stops and talks to another soldier in front of what I assume is an airport firefighting engine. That's sort of lime green. Although you see a lot of city engines and that like this too, so probably not airfield specific. And we can see that large hangar in the background. Families walking around getting some air. Hardly 22,000 people here that we knew were in attendance when the park was evacuated.
There's still a lot of people there. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's every one of the extras they've used in this entire movie.
Yeah, and I can see maybe only taking the sickest or the most injured to Costa Rica because they need medical assistance, and maybe there's still some on the cruise ships. Or
we don't know exactly how early in the morning this is, and we know that the last boat left at dawn because Dave and what was her name?
Roxy.
Roxy. Yeah, Dave and Roxy. Dave's easy to remember because that's my name, but Roxy I have trouble with. They forced the boat to kind of stay there until the very last second.
Yeah, it's sort of weird too because, again, it's not here. I don't know where I read it. When I read about Lowry knowing the park was done and that's why he was shutting the lights off, he was going to join Claire and Owen and the helicopter that he'd called for. Because we know Claire tells him to call in a helicopter earlier in the film. Presumably that helicopter comes and picks them up from Main Street and they fly to the exact same location in Costa Rica as the cruise lines are dropping people off. There's a bit of convenience. But inside the hangar we can see hundreds of people sitting on the hangar floor in chairs and everything else. And a doctor treating a man's bandaged head. There's all sorts of different logos around the world. I think the novel describes this as the Costa Rican Red Cross.
As far as I know, the Red Cross is a universal symbol. It's pretty much always universal because in warfare, it's technically a war crime to attack any vehicle bearing the Red Cross.
Yeah, but in saying that, I presume the Red Cross was a Red Cross, where here it just seems like a white cross with a blue outline on some of these gazebos in here, but that might be just the local medical thing. So
true.
And then look out, we get Barry arrive out of nowhere, walking through, seemingly helping some people.
Mm-hmm. I always kind of thought that, like, going through his head as he's looking at Owen, like, you SOB, you left me in that log.
I don't know if I'd take him just walking straight up to him, punching him, and just walking off.
Yeah, maybe not at that level, but I mean, there's probably some. They're not gonna talk for a while.
Well, we know they don't because they don't talk for Fallen Kingdom. That's one thing I really hope we do get, even if it's just a word of dialogue explanation in Dominion. Mm-hmm. Owen asking for his help or something, and Barry just saying, "Last time you wanted my help, you left me behind," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see Karen and Mr. Mitchell. I can't remember his name. Was he a Dave too? No, he wasn't.
Peter, I think.
Pedia, yeah. Anyway, they're walking together amongst the injured. Grey looks on sad looks on their face, and we cut to an image of Gray and Zach sitting beside Claire, and Karen sees them and begins to cry. And Claire's the first to see her sister and gets up, telling the boys to get up. Also that mum and dad are here, and that's when the family hug and cry, and Claire just stands there awkwardly, giving the family time to reunite.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where the minute ends.
I kind of always thought it was funny because I'm pretty sure that, like, when Claire said that your mom will never let me see you again, she's right, and that's why Zach and Gray aren't going to be in the sequels.
Well, I wonder if not distress, but the upset look on Claire's face here is more so waiting for the bereavement from Karen of how could you let this happen to my boys or whatever else. But we're going to see next minute that there's no hard feelings here between the sisters. So that's one of the few shots we get next minute. Looking briefly at novel comparisons, as I said before, we don't get Lowry in the control room. We just cut from the blue or both animals leaving Main Street. We cut to a school gymnasium in Costa Rica as Zach and Gray's parents walk in. It had been set up as an evacuation centre. They see thousands of people wrapped in Red Cross blankets eating donated food on paper plates, which I thought was weird. Okay, we've got a big aircraft hangar here, which, yes, makes a little bit of sense. A school gym?
Yeah.
I noticed big ones. I'd also question whether Costa Rican schooling system has gymnasiums and that like they do in the States, or auditoriums or sort of large.
I would imagine in San Jose they probably do, but we don't know where in Costa Rica this is. We presume it's in San Jose. But at the same time, there's no school, maybe a private school, but probably not. That's going to just let 20,000 random tourists walk around. Not to mention that an airplane hangar is probably much more accessible.
Yeah. Even just having the simple subtitle when we get to the hangar, Port Arenas, it would have been a good little nod back to the first or the novels. We know it's on the coast, or was situated on the coast in the novels. It would get away from that little issue of San Jose being on the coast in the start of Jurassic Park. But in saying that too, it would be a lot smaller community than a bigger city like San Jose, and you might have a school of a couple of hundred kids there, and yeah, maybe not the biggest gymnasium.
Yeah.
But they scan the crowd looking for their kids, and then the reunion happens pretty much the same as we get in the film. Karen sees Claire, and then from then the kids, and they all get to hug for a happy ending.
Yay.
But David, we still have 2 minutes to go in this film. There's going to be a lot more hugging and crying, and then we're going to hug and cry as we see Rexy looking out over her kingdom. But that's going to come. That's going to come next week or next minute. So how about we get out of here today and reunite for those later on?
All right, sounds good.